starting.
All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a while, but after a long hiatus, some weird chicanery, and the unfortunate moving on from one of our co-hosts here. Don't worry, she's not dead. She's just gone to greener and better pastures. It is once again Rev, and I'm joined here today by a new friend, someone who wants to actually kind of continue this, I guess, odd fuckery that we call Legacy Show. Please introduce yourself, my friend.
Hello, my name is Jordan is Great 505. You may know me because I'm streaming this on my channel, so, yeah, that's, interesting, to say the least.
I assure you, everyone, he is happy and well and ready to go, and I do not have him at gunpoint at this moment.
Well, yeah, I just grabbed the mic and now it's in my hand, and I put on feeder mode, so there's gameplay background.
Mm-hmm. So this is going to be a little different from the old shows that, if anyone somehow finds this from the old Left for Random Talk YouTube page, this is going to be a little bit different. We do have some gameplay in the background. It's going to be mostly our voices for now. And if this works out and it's successful, we're just going to go ahead and just kind of set it up like we used to. There's going to be some different characters, a few different things. So kind of keep that in mind moving forward. But, nothing's set in stone yet, so we're just hoping for the best, expecting the worst. There's going to be a comet hitting here. I just know it. Just midway through the sentence, just boom. That's it. No more.
Nobody watches my YouTube channel that much, so I don't know.
Okay, so if we fuck up, not a lot of people are going to see it.
Yeah, no one's gonna know. No one's gonna know that.
Mm-hmm. That's we can just say the N-word over and over again. Nobody will notice it. No, I'm kidding. Don't actually do it.
Yeah, no. I don't want to get another strike. I don't want to get this channel terminated again. It took me 2 years. It took me the past 4 years to build this shit back up, man. From the bullshit termination from before.
Mm-hmm. I hear that. So, I'm sure a lot of you are probably wondering a question. What are we going to be talking about? What insane thing are we going to mention? Are we going to talk about the geopolitical climate? Are we going to talk about the rampant gun crime in Saudi Arabia? No, we're just going to talk about Halo.
Yes.
Because specifically this.
my channel has been so focused on Halo as of late that it's just I thought we'd talk about it, but yeah.
Yeah.
So we're talking.
But it's not going to be the good Halo.
Yeah.
It's not going to be what you grew up with and the great stuff. No, it's going to be that Halo.
Yeah.
That show.
The Halo TV show, as it's called. Now, I'd personally, the only thing I'd want to think about when I think of that is Halo Legends, but of course we can't have nice things. So the Halo TV show, it just got its second season, and it's like, it's a somewhat better improvement to the last season, but that's not saying much. And it's just annoying because I just want good things to happen, and we can't have good things with this TV show running around. So we have to stop it.
Yes, and by stop it, I mean just kind of let it die.
Yes. So should we just start out with what happens in the episode that was released?
You mean the most recent? Full disclosure, I've never bothered to watch the show. I've only seen just the clips of it. I looked up the fight scenes. I looked into it. I had spoken to a friend who kind of worked on the production. I kind of got more from that, and I just said, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to enjoy myself a nice little bit of coffee.
Yeah. I didn't watch it either.
That was it.
I just read a few summaries here and there. I seen clips as well, but I kind of know what happens because I've watched the first 2 episodes, but I haven't watched the 3rd episode that came out. I kind of had it spoiled from a few YouTubers, so I know what happens. But I will say the one.
By all means, go on.
The good thing, the good stuff. I may forget a few things, remember, so I might skip over. So sorry about that. But the good things, I'll get the good stuff out of the way because obviously we got to do that. The good thing is the action scenes because I feel like some of them are actually kind of cool. Like in the first
Okay.
episode where Chief's like in the or the elites are in the camo and they're just taking out the Marines, and then Chief, like when an elite comes up behind him, he just like pulls out the shotgun and does like it from behind. That's pretty cool. But the main problem is that this is supposed to be the invasion of Reach, right? Which is a big event in
Oh
Halo,
God.
right? And we've barely gotten any build up for
Mm-hmm.
this. Um, I think I'll go start with what happened in the first episode. The first episode just starts out with the fuck. I forgot. Damn it. That they're just it's like
You see, this show is so bad. It's actually forgettable. Yet it's also able to stay alive because of how awful it is. It's like an enigma.
I from what I remember, did the chief and the Spartans are like investigating some area on I think
Mm-hmm.
I it's Madrigal, I think it is. Which
Okay.
just I think that's what they're investigating. They're just trying to get the Marines out there or something. And the
Mm-hmm.
Covenant's there as well, and they're there to glass it, and it just leads into this like it just leads into all the action scenes we're talking about. I'm so sorry, I
Right.
forgot about a lot of the details here. I never thought
No,
we were
you're
going to be
fine. You're
talking
fine.
about it.
No, you're good. And like I said, this show is not good in any stretch of the imagination. It is the purest form of a cash grab. It's just trying to use the Halo iconography, has no idea what to do with it, and it's just like farting around trying to like um generate like even the most inkling of good vibes of it, and it's just not working. From the nonsensical like plot points in the script, the questionable like characterization and development, and just a lot of questionable things in general, to just downright awful just things in it. Like again, I've mentioned I've not watched this series. I kind of refuse to, and I know that's unfair to say. Like, oh my god, how can you judge something you haven't given it a try, like or seen it? It's like I tried. I tried to like
Mm-hmm.
sit myself down, watch this show, and I was just so just uninterested. I just couldn't bring myself to care. And I know that's bad for like you want to be like oh dear, what's the word? You want to be like objective about these sorts of things. You want to be like, you don't want to go in just hating because it's a trendy thing to do, or loving it because it's like the trendy thing to do. But this isn't like one of those instances where the hate is justified because it's trying desperately to trick the audience into believing this is Halo when it just isn't.
It
Like from the questionable things with the Lord, like Halsey apparently lying to the Spartans when in like a lot of the stuff she specifically said no, we can't do that because that will make them question their loyalties, to this whole spinal emotional inhibitor thing, which
he
is not how that works, but whatever, to just turning Chief from essentially what we all know him as is just a walking talking weapon at the end of the day, to just, oh my god, I'm sad, or I'm showing emotion, or I'm much more than that. It's like, why are you doing this?
I
Why?
here's it's just like the entire they literally said that, oh, we didn't read the books, we just decided, oh, we're just gonna do whatever we want to appeal to a broader audience. And here's the thing, it's like the entire show is mostly just melodramatic like drama where all the characters in the UNSC are just arguing with each other, just tons of boring scenes of talking. That's what you expect from Halo, apparently, according to these people. Just scenes of characters arguing with each other, even though in the books, Chief was told that he was like all the Spartans were told where they came from, right? And they made peace with
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
They don't care. They understand they have to do what's right for the greater good, right?
Yeah, it's a fucked up thing, but you can kind of put your personal feeling aside and say, you know what, if I don't buckle down and I fight the aliens that want to kill us, there's not going to be a home to go back to. So I can put this aside for now for the right thing, essentially. Does that absolve Halsey and Oni of what they've done? Absolutely not. And I hope they'll hang for it, because that is the most like evil thing you can fucking do. But at the same time, I can rationalize that, be like, you know what? For the moment, let's just put the rifles aside and focus on the literal genocidal aliens that just want us dead because we invalidate their religion just by existing.
Yeah, we're not going to acknowledge the free for free fan fiction that humans aren't forerunners. They're forerunners. Marty O'Donnell said that himself, that they are. Um, I wanted to talk about the entire premise of season 2. The entire premise is the fall of Reach, right? Well, in the
Right.
from one of the details I do remember is that the fucking James Ackerson, that guy, like in most of the cast, they're just being doomers, right? The whole time they're being like, "Oh, Reach is done for. It's gonna fall." It's like, it's such, it's so counterintuitive to the themes of Halo. The themes of Halo is having hope, in the greatest, like, having hope in times of like great despair, right? And you have like these characters flat out saying, "Oh, it's gonna fall, it's gonna happen." It's like, at least give me a relative, like, at least try to trick me that there's a chance Reach won't fall, right? That's what Halo Reach did, right? When you have like the first half of the game, you're just beating the Covenant's ass, and then Arbiter's fleet comes in, and then the entire game's mood like switches, right? Like it, and
Yeah,
even
but
then,
it's natural.
yeah, and even then, in Halo Reach, even though you're losing, you still, like, humanity still makes the best of it. And I think there's even like a radio transmission from one of the insurrectionists where they're talking to the Covenant. They're like, "Welcome to Hell," when they tell them to come to Reach, right? And it's like, you don't have that in the Halo TV show. It just seemed like it's like they took the unique aspects of Halo's like very pro-human attitude and just threw it away. It's like, and turned into some generic sci-fi shit where, oh, the humans are bad and all that shit, because they've kind of been pushing that since they've been putting focus on that freaking insurrectionist, Quan Ha, or whatever her name was, right? Um,
Yeah, that's another thing I want to mention as well. Is less. Well, actually, I want to bring this up real quick. It's funny because I'm gonna compare Reach to like 40K for a second, right? And there's a very similar situation that happened to this in 40K, basically the fall of Cadia. But even as it fell apart, the fighter, those who defended the planet, they didn't give up. The planet gave up on them, basically. So you still have like in 40K, if you have like people from Cadia, you'll always hear them still say, Cadia stands, etc., because they still carry that memory of their world with them, and it's kind of become their rallying cry. Even though it's gone, it's like reduced to slag, it's destroyed. They haven't given up hope of fighting, so that way nothing else or no other world suffers the fate they suffer. And you'd think with Halo, it would be a similar kind of sentiment where, yeah, Reach fell, but we never we didn't let go of the hope that Reach could have been saved.
It's even in Halo Reach, in like in the final cutscene, it's revealed that Reach just gets re-terraformed after the Human Covenant War. Like, yeah, humanity goes back and fixes all the glassing the Covenant did. So, because
exactly. No, go.
It shows that, like, even though you died, even though Reach fell, your sacrifice was not in vain, and it actually amounted to something.
Quite literally, actually, when you think about it, where if it wasn't for Noble Six and Emil doing what they did, getting the Cortana AI to the Pillar of Dawn and everything, the war would have ended much differently. You literally play a vital part. And even at the very end of it all, like the last lone wolf and everything, it's a wonderful little like send off, because the fight is over, the war is the battle is over, but the war hasn't been lost yet. But there's no escape. There's no way for you to like successfully evacuate the planet. There's no real shelter that you can take on. the best you can do is just go out swinging, scream into that defiant night, and take as many covenant as you can, and sear your name into the flesh of every alien you encounter, so that your legacy lives on in eternity. I wouldn't be surprised if the covenant have like I've always imagined this like in the true Halo sense, where the covenant have like biblical tales of the Spartans. It's like these demons or these monsters, and how like they'll talk about great battles that were waged against, and how honorable elites would take down vile demons, and things like that. Like John is viewed as the demon, as in the one that they'll spawn from. But I imagine like Noble Six is viewed as like the last demon of Reach or something.
Yeah, he is also designated as hyper lethal vector.
Exactly. So I can just picture that like some it's some sort of biblical story told by the Covenant, speaking about this like the lone demon of Reach, how it slew legions of Covenant, and it was only through the might of faith and the power of their beliefs that the demon was not only defeated but laid to rest in the very earth that's bore it, basically.
Yeah.
Fuck, I would love to read that now. That's depressing. It's like, oh god, that sounds so much better than this
Well,
show.
maybe it will happen because 343 seems more inclined on telling the good stories in the books instead of the games.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but going back to the
Mm-hmm.
Halo TV show, it's just like it doesn't feel like Halo because it's not, it doesn't have that, like, in fact I don't think a lot of Halo in a while has had that, like, it's supposed to feel like it's different from other sci-fi franchises, right? Because Halo's really different
Mm-hmm.
because for example, a lot of the planets in Halo are kind of like Earth. They're not like, you don't have single biome planets. The humans aren't like a lot of sci-fi villainizes humans as like evil monsters, and we're the real bad guys. Halo doesn't really go for that, well, except for maybe in the books with the UNSC versus the insurrectionists. But aside from
Right.
that, Halo's very different, and these people don't understand that. They think Halo's like any other sci-fi franchise, and they because of that they misunderstand it, and they screw up. They screw up what Halo means, and it doesn't feel like Halo. It doesn't feel unique. And one of the things too is when,
It feels very generic now.
yeah, and it's like having Chief take off his helmet, for example. You can tell, like, Halo, like, I know everyone brings up Mandalorian, and I always, like, I groan when people do that,
Mm-hmm.
not because I don't, I just think it, like, Halo has done, like, I think Halo has done it,
Mm-hmm.
like, much better, and it has done it in the past before The Mandalorian did it, where you can have Chief emit emotions, like, it's for all the shit we can give Halo 4. Chief does emit a lot of emotions having his helmet on. Like, you can tell
Yeah.
how he feels. Like, in the final cutscene with Cortana he has before Cortana dies, you can see his, like, shoulders are slouched down. He looks sad through his own body language. They didn't need him to take off his helmet to show that he was crying. You could probably tell he was under the helmet. Um, and that's like, Halo has so many good examples of just displaying emotion through having a helmet on, right? So
Yeah, like even with the Neo, Noble Six, like I know that in Reach a lot of the Spartans do take off their helmets, with the exceptions of Noble Six and Emil, and even then you still get that sort of like that same body language with Emil, where it's like he's burying his emotions and is just desperately trying to be the demon they fear, and he's kind of like he keeps that up. Even Noble Six kind of has a similar situation where when the whole bit with George sacrificing himself, you can kind of see Noble Six doing the same thing, like slouching slightly, looking down, and being like, that's a one-way trip. And George is like, we all have to do it eventually. It's a very interesting sort of thing. Even when Emil is told that George is dead, kind of lowers his head, shakes it, and you can hear it in the tone of voice how he's trying to pay off or play off like his feelings as a joke.
Yeah.
but you can tell he's masking the hurt he has.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I'll honor him my own way, and it's like,
Mm-hmm.
he doesn't want to like, because he was like deeply affected. The reason he's so violent is because of the fact that he lost his brother during the Human Covenant War, and then he became a Spartan free.
Yeah, and he brings that virility, that ferocity, that violence out in the way he fights, and that's something that we should all aspire to. Is that if something hurts you, you hurt it back like 10 times as worse. If a monster is real, then you become worse than the monster.
Yeah. That's usually what you want to do with that.
Yeah, but again, with the show, it doesn't even do that.
And I want to talk about the Arbiter as well, because we were talking about like how you can display emotion. I'd argue Halo's most human character is the Arbiter, and he's an alien, right? Because you can see his struggle from learning the entire Covenant religion is a lie, and that he spent his entire life murdering these like humans for no good reason, and they didn't deserve it at all. And of course, you see how he redeems himself in Halo 3, especially with the other elites as well. And that's very human, and it's like the way it's like you can, and he's like an alien. He has like 4 like jaws, and you can still see emotion through that, right? That's another example of that. And I guess we should talk about the freaking way the Covenant's portrayed in the series. You barely even get to see them.
Please.
You barely get to see the Covenant in Halo, the show. Like, you only see them in fight scenes, and they just come off as generic aliens. And while that would work for Combat Evolved, because you don't know their motivations there, except for this slight Cortana line talking about religion, we need like more scenes showing the inner workings of the Covenant, because there's a lot, like Halo 2 had a lot of that, right? Without it,
absolutely,
and it makes them lack a lot of depth, right? And I know the main excuse is going to be like, oh, we don't have the budget to show the aliens. It's like, you're funded under Microsoft. You think you'd have the budget? I mean, for all the shit we can give Star Wars, at least they bother to actually have aliens on the screen. With the amounts of
absolutely
disgusting money they have, it's like we barely get to know anything about the Covenant, and the entire point of the show is to like give it to a broader audience, and you're not really doing that well, because you're not showing people the motivations of the Covenant. You're not showing them why they go after humans. They're just evil bad guys for the sake of it, and they just they're just evil.
You might as well just replace the elites, the grunts, the jackals, all of them with just fucking robots at this point.
And also I should say, apparently according to the show, the Unity and the Covenant were at a standoff for the last like few years, and they weren't they weren't really making any true advances to each other or something like that. At least from what I was told. And
that makes no sense, but okay.
Yeah, it makes no sense, because now out of nowhere they suddenly decide, oh, we're going to invade Reach now, and also that's what I wanted to talk about. They do nothing to make us care about Reach, right? They do nothing in the show to genuinely make you like feel like any amount of care for it. They do like, why should I care about the cast of characters? What have they done to make me care about them? They just sit there and yell at each other all day. Yeah.
Well, there was this one Spartan that was like shocked by the PTSD of war, and then she froze. That's characterizing. No, it's not.
Yeah.
No, it fucking isn't.
Yeah, it's like, that's another thing too. Like, Halo has very likable characters, and none of these characters are likable. They're just emotional wrecks that like to yell at each other the whole entire time. They're just arguing with each other. Like, you have frickin' James Ackerson. Like, you have Chief and Johnson. I mean Captain Keyes. Sorry, I got confused for a second, because obvious reasons. You have you have them giving James Ackerson reasonable suggestions on how to stop the Covenant on Reach, and he's just ignoring them. Why? Why is he ignoring them? Oh, because he just wants to be an asshole. He's supposed to be villainized. Like he, it's like, it's kind of like the lazy villainization, if that makes sense, where they want you to hate the character and they're just making him be a dick for no reason, right?
Being evil for the sake of being evil, so that when he eventually like bites the dust, you're like, oh, good, he's dead. Fuck that guy.
Yeah, you can just tell that's the entire point of it, and it's like, you know, it's not fun to watch these characters constantly yelling at each other, being dicks to each other. It's like, you don't see that in Halo. You like in Halo Combat Evolved or like Halo 2 or Halo 3, you know, everyone's trying to cooperate with each other because at the end of the day, you know, we're all united against one threat. There's no time for stupid drama. I mean, that's why Chief and Arbiter, like, after their first, like, meetup where Chief puts the gun to Arbiter's head and he says words so easy, it's like, after that first meetup, they're kind of like, you know, we gotta put our differences aside and realize that that the bigger threat is the Covenant and the Flood. So that's the whole entire point of that, you know? Or the elites allying with the UNSC. It's like, you know, it's like we don't need to see scenes of them. There's tensions, but we don't need to see them like constantly like being dicks to each other, you know, and arguing with each other. It's like, this is not the time for your bitch fits. Or
the best scene to kind of encompass that has to be in just before everyone reaches the Ark, and that's that one moment where you've got like a bunch of UNSC Marines sitting at a warthog staring at the elites, and then you have the elites on the other end sitting on a ghost staring, and then you just see Johnson walking over like it's nothing, grabbing a beam rifle off of the ghost right next to the elite's foot in like a very brazen like, I'm taking this from you. And you see the elite just kind of jump up immediately like, what the fuck do you think you're doing? Then the Marines react, and then you just see Arbiter walking in the other direction carrying a rocket launcher and a flamethrower. And both sides are just kind of shocked that both factions, like these two who are like diametrically opposed to each other, have each other's weaponry. And as they walk towards each other, they actually go out of their way to avoid bumping into each other through mutual respect.
See,
and that alone diffuses the tension.
See, the reason the Marines are mad their weapons are stolen is because the Covenant weapons are worse than the UNSC weapons. I'm talking in gameplay terms, at least. But
obviously, that's something I want to mention as well. I hate this show because of how it, like, a lot of the fighting doesn't make sense, and I mean in the sense of like Covenant versus human weaponry, and how suddenly stuff won't work against them, but then suddenly when the main characters are on screen, it works, you know. Like, I think the most obvious example would have to be
the plasma pistol.
And again, I know this because no. It was in the first episode, after when the Covenant were like just butchering the insurrectionist camp and just murdering everyone because they can. There's this one moment where the leader of this group has the minigun and he's shooting them, and they're, you know, it's actually like it's not doing anything to them. It's like bouncing off the energy shields, and they don't really particularly view it as a threat. And then suddenly, as soon as Chief gets his hands on it, suddenly the minigun does something, and it just breaks through their shield, and they start dying. And it's like, what the fuck? And that's a major problem with the show, is that
actually,
there is this very obvious... Mm-hmm.
Now that you point that out, I just realized something. So in the first scene, when the Covenant attacks, Quan Ha's friends, they get turned into Gibbs when they're hit by the plasma rifles, right? But in episode 3, I think it is, of season 2, Cobalt team they have plasma burns on them, but they're not like all gibbed up. They're just like burnt on their dead bodies.
Exactly.
I just realized that.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's no consistent damage. There's no consistent, like, this is what these things will do to you. It's just 1 minute a plasma pistol has enough power to like blow off the head of an elite. Suddenly, in the next, it's barely enough to put a dent in their arm. I said armor specifically, not shields, armor.
Yeah, the weird Arbiter ripoff armor they have because they couldn't bother to at least like remake the Reach armor or the. Yeah, I mean, I actually kind of like some of the armor designs they have because they're kind of unique, different takes. But that's only because I want to steal them and put them in my mods, not because I actually think they're worthy replacements.
I'm just picturing that now. I'm just picturing that. You just go in, the fucking Covenant armor, and you're like, oh, that looks nice, and you just start just aching chest plates, helmets, just everything going like, okay, goodbye.
Yeah, and well, I kind of like their take on the Honor Guard. I mean, it's not as good as the original, but it's like it'd be like a cool subclass. Mm-hmm. Also, and I also like how they have.
That would be a good way to sum up. Oh, go ahead.
I like how they have the Jackals use their swords that they have in lore.
Yeah.
And another thing too, I should mention that's kind of stupid. Mm-hmm. Do you notice how the grunts barely have a presence in the show, but they just over spam elites?
Mm-hmm.
Don't you realize how dumb that is? Because like in lore, the grunts are the main infantry. It's not the elites, you know. The grunts barely appear.
Because of how much they reproduce. That's literally the whole shtick.
Yeah, it's like they just wanted to they just overuse the elites. They shouldn't be using the elites as cannon fodder. It's the grunts you're supposed to do that as. But they just kept they have like one grunt appear and it's like for cannon fodder, like for like hijacking a warthog.
But you don't understand, Jordan. The grunts aren't as marketable as the elites. That's why they're there. So people can look at the screen and go, oh, I recognize that.
I think they're doing it because the elites are human-sized, right? And they just want to be generic. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh, these guys are like the Spartans equal, so we're just going to spam the elites and make them less special. And you know what also is annoying thing about the armor design? Kiki Wolfkill, one of the people behind the show, also behind Halo 4, if you're wondering why there's such shocking similarities. She said that Arbiter is in the show, right? She said Arbiter's in the show, but it's hard to tell who the hell Arbiter is when every single elite in this season uses Arbiter's armor. I shit you not, every single elite uses his armor. So it's like, oh, who's Arbiter? Is that Arbiter? Did he just die? It's like...
It's obvious that Arbiter isn't actually in the show because, like I said, you only say that and show no proof when you realize, oh shit, we forgot to add a character that people actually give a shit about. Just say something generic, throw it in the atmosphere, and people will eat that shit up. That typical that mentality.
Yeah, you also have the fact that like the what do you call it? It's like I don't think an Arbiter even existed at that point in time of canon. And I know people are going to be like, oh no, it's not that. I don't care. It's like I don't care if it's a new timeline. I'm just going to go off what the books or lore say because that's more important. But the last Arbiter at that point was the one in Halo Wars, or Ripa Morme or whatever his name was, and he died from Sergeant.
No, you got it right.
Yeah, and then the next Arbiter was Fel. They should have been building Fel up as a zealot, with his old gold armor. Like they shouldn't be using Arbiter's armor straight away, right?
Obviously.
And I think they were trying to replace the Arbiter with McKee, who somehow is alive. And also, she was also race swapped because originally she's an elite in Halo lore, and also a ship mistress. So take that as you will. So they kind of just removed her of her spot. Well, to be fair, this was in Halo 5, because in Halo 5...
Obviously.
In Halo 5, Arbiter gave the female elites rights, so they're allowed to pilot ships now. They couldn't do that before. They just weren't allowed to, but they let a McKee in Halo 5 do that, but then they're like, oh no.
Race swap it. Or gender swap it, because we can't...
No,
despite the fact that we claim...
No, it's a race swap because she's a human now. She's not a Sangheili.
Oh, right. She's the one that controls the worms, isn't it?
Yeah, because we couldn't have an actual hunter. We just had to have it, just have all the Tentai worms.
Yes, because fuck you. That's why. It's just so frustrating. And I also want to bring something up here as well. You mentioned Mandalorian a second ago. I want to bring this up as well. So there's a reason why Chief is taking off his helmet all over the place, and this is because of what Pedro Pascal, the actor who plays the Mandalorian, basically did, where he was having a big shit fit because every single time, he's not doing anything. He's not like he'll come on set to wear the costume, but it's not always him that wears it. It's a body double, for obvious reasons. And so what they typically do is they have Pedro just record lines in a booth, and then they dub over the actor saying things to make it look like it's actually Pedro and everything like that. And during production, he threw a big shit fit because he felt like nobody would know it's him, nobody would recognize that it's his work,
Oh
and
my
that
god.
he was basically relegated to the. And he's even said he said like he felt like he was just a voice actor. It's like, wow, nice way of like invalidating your fellow actors and just saying, oh, voice actors don't matter. Nice job there, Pedro.
Yeah,
So
he needs to
he.
shut up about that. Like, you do we have to bring up the Clone Wars and how all the clones have their like? You're just discrediting them all by saying that shit. It's like you're saying, oh, voice acting's a lesser work.
Yeah, exactly. But and you bring up the clones, it's like, oh, but um, Tamara Morrison, he was still in the movies, and but he basically just did a lot of voices, and the only times he actually was like on set was like a couple times, and he didn't complain about it. He was fine with it. But you know what I mean? This is the problem where he started this whole trend of people need to know who the actor is, so therefore take off the helmet and let people see his face. And this is why you got like 4 scenes in The Mandalorian season 1 and season 2 where he just takes off his fucking helmet for no reason, despite it being a huge sticking point that this is his entire character and that he can't take it off because it's literally his religion, essentially. But no, Pedro wants to be seen. Pedro, for the sake of his fragile fucking ego, he needs this. So we got to do that. And so when that happened, and because Pedro basically bullied his way and made it so it's like he either gets that or he walks off the project. Fucking what's his name? The guy who's playing Chief. I don't even fucking know his name.
Pablo.
I just know
something. Pablo Strider or something like that.
I just call him Pouty Face because that's always like his default facial expression. It's like he's confused, he has no idea what's going on, and he's just standing there like, "Somebody please help me, I'm confused." And basically, he heard about like Pedro getting away with it, so he's like, "Oh, I need to do that now." And so he basically pulls the same thing, and that's why Chief now takes off his helmet because only he can emote and give his honest performance if people see his fucking face. Like, fuck off.
Yeah, it's like, do we need to bring out the countless examples again of the Halo games? Like, fucking hell. Just so annoying.
No, actually, funnily enough, when Tamara Morrison got brought back to do Boba Fett, he actually hated the fact that they were having him take off the helmet all the time because he knows the character is the helmet, the character is the armor, and even said it's like it was a mistake to have Boba Fett's face revealed all the time. It's like I respect that. He knows his strengths and he plays into it.
Yeah, it's like that's an actor you can respect. It's like, these people, like a lot of actors are kind of like narcissistic where they're like, oh, I want everyone to see my face, I want everyone to see it. It's like, that's why in movies all the bad guys get the cool armor and all the good guys get the ugly, boring clothes. And that's why Halo's cool, by the way, because the good guys also get cool, like, weapons. That's the cool thing about it. Apparently, fucking these people don't understand that, but,
They don't care. That's what it is. They don't care about it. They don't care about this project, and all they see is a fucking cash grab. That they're like, oh my god, we're we're gonna run with it, and we're gonna have all this like incentive. And it's like, Jesus Christ, like, fuck. And I think that's what's disappointing, because this isn't like a show in a vacuum. That's the worst part about it. Like, this isn't the first time that Halo has been done as a TV show. We've had two instances: Forward Unto Dawn and Nightfall.
Well, yeah, but Nightfall doesn't exist. Oh, actually, I'm just kidding. I was gonna say Halo Legends, but that's an anime. It's more of a movie,
It's like,
actually. It was kind of released as a movie. That's how I got it. Um,
yeah, and you say that it's like, okay, he's trying to gaslight me. I see what's going on here,
well, it's because
motherfucking host.
Nightfall is so forgettable. The whole entire plot is that, oh, we go to a destroyed piece of the Halo ring, but instead of doing something cool where the Flood is on it, that might be what I'm planning, except it impales into a planet. Anyways, the point is that it's like they just waste that cool concept and just make some boring ass show about it, because they wanted to promote Halo 5. That's kind of like with Ian Flynn. The entire point is to promote the big product, right?
Exactly. So tune in to next episode when we bash Ian Flynn over the head for the next hour and a half.
Yeah, well, probably probably Sonic fans are gonna get mad at us because they're still in that simping phase.
I don't doubt it. And we say this, like, we're not saying all Sonic fans are like that, and I should also mention this, like, if you're a fan of this show, or if you're a fan of anything like that, and, we've been pretty negative about this, we're not targeting people who enjoy it. We're not saying you're a horrible person, or get the fuck out of here, we don't want you here. No, far from it. It's just, this is our interpretation, this is our kind of take on it.
You can disagree with us and still like the content,
Yeah, like, again, I would love to hear what people would think about, like, the show, and if there's, like, positives or anything you like about it, I would love to hear about it. And I'd like to hear, like, I don't want to just hear, like, oh, I like it, and then just leave it at that. I like to know what makes you happy about it, what makes it interesting, why do you enjoy it the way you do? Not because I want to be condescending and be like, oh my god, you're fucking nerd, because it's more of, I want to understand where the appeal is,
Mm-hmm.
Not just, I hate it, therefore it is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what we want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but if you want to just come in and call us an asshole, that's fine too. Just understand it. We probably won't respond to it. But thanks for the engagement, all the same.
I hope someone comments on this. Well, I guess video, because people are probably gonna watch as a video. I hope people do that.
Probably. Again, when I used to do this beforehand, it was more video format than it was actual live stream. But hey, we make the most of it. Anyhow, but yeah, this show is getting a second season. It's I got no real interest in it. Like, I'm probably just gonna look up the fights just like before. I'm gonna probably pull up the plot synopses, and then I'm just going to just leave it alone and never think about it again, just like how I did with the first season. That's why this kind of blindsided me, because I was kind of surprised that there was enough quote-unquote goodwill to get a second season. Though now, with hindsight being the thing, I likely suspect that they were signed on for 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And there's just enough there that the second season can be made, but the likelihood of a third season is kind of like not gonna happen. Probably knock on.
That's what usually happens with these shows, anyways. It's like they always get a signed in for season 2, and then despite the black backlash of season 1, they can't really do anything about it.
Usually.
Yeah, it's like that's kind of just how it works. So it's just what was I gonna say? Well, you said you were going to watch the fight scenes, right? The apparently the next episode is shot in one shot. Like, it's all like a continuous. It's kind of like you're holding up a camera and you're just recording. It's shot to be like that, so it might be in like 40 minutes of a fight scene on Reach or something like that.
Oh.
So unfortunately, you have about 40
Mhm.
minutes of fight scenes to be looking at, apparently. Because,
Oh god. You know what's funny
what?
about that? Like you say that and it's gonna be like a continuous shot and everything like that. You know what you're immediately reminding me of? Like
What?
flat out.
What?
The throne room battle in The Last Jedi. And
Oh,
how
God.
if you slow it down, you can actually see so many mistakes. And it's very and I've said this before, like I'm not someone who's always going to be like how do I put it? Be on their case and I don't want to be a perfectionist, right? But when you're doing an entire shot, right, like an entire fucking one congruent battle over and over again, and then not bothering to get the choreography right because there are multiple instances where, and this is especially the case with Ray, I should say. Every time her shots are shown, she's kind of missing her marks, constantly fucking up, basically like not getting the timing right. And a lot of the times these guys have to, the stuntmen have to like make up for it and just kind of keep going with the speed and pray to God that nobody caught it, or we're distracted by the dazzling display long enough that nobody picks up on it, basically. And by the way, I should mention this. This isn't only the only time this has happened. It's also the same thing in the Rise of Palpatine. No, I refuse to call it the Rise of Skywalker.
The rise
Um,
of Ray
there's
Palpatine.
yes, do it. That was awful. There's a specific, and I'm gonna get back to the other one. Just I need to mention this. During her big fight against the Sith Praetorians and everything like that, the scene is basically shown and shot in different ways, basically cutting back from her and Kylo and that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a specific moment where basically one of the guys tries to shoot her, and she uses the Force to deflect, not deflect, but like redirect. That's it. Redirect the shot back towards the other guy that's standing right next to him, and the shot hits him in the helmet and he falls over,
Yeah.
specifically on the left side. Right?
Yeah.
Then in the second half of the fight, she does the same trick, and another Sith falls. Right? And you think, okay, that's kind of clear, and then you start realizing, like when you actually look at the scenes, you realize they use the same shot at a different angle to make it look like she's actually fighting 6 people, when in reality she's only fighting 3 guys at a time.
I did not notice.
It is a blink and you'll miss it moment, but it's there, and once you realize it, you start questioning what the fuck is going
I only watched this
on.
slot once, so I only, you know.
Right. And to kind of get back to the main throne fight I wanted to mention, there is a scene that a lot of people didn't catch right away, but it's only become more apparent when EFAP and Shadiversity picked up on this. There's a moment in the film where Rey is fighting a guard with 2 knives, basically, right? And during the fight, he manages to stop the lightsaber, force it up in such a way, and then he catches her arm and locks her arm with his, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's got 2 knives in his hands, right? So as he's got her like pinned down, you think, oh, he's going to use the one in his left hand to stab her. But then when you slow down the footage and you see it, the knife is gone. He didn't lose it because you can actually see his fist is still closed as if he's holding something. They realized in editing that he would be able to kill her without even trying. But he's supposed to hold her down so that way she can get the inner strength to beat him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they did is they edited his knife out of existence during the scene. So when it goes around and shows like him moving the blade away, it's supposed to give the illusion that he dropped it, but in reality he's still holding it. It's just been edited out.
Wow, she just has Mary Sue powers that strong that she can just edit out knives.
She teleported it to the fucking back room. So just hard cut to that scene and just the knife just falling onto the floor from nowhere. Oh my god! And that's my concern with this whole 45-minute like running shot fight scene for this Halo episode. Because if it's anything like fucking these two scenes, we're going to see a lot of fuck ups, a lot of editing tricks, and a lot of attempts to make it look like, oh, it was well done and well executed, when in reality, we're probably going to see a lot of mistakes that were both kept in because nobody caught it because they're like, oh my god, we get to do a long shot. Oh my god, I'm jacking off over it. To, oh shit, we fucked it up. A quick, just edit, edit, edit.
Yeah,
That's what it's going to be. I
we've
guarantee it.
we've seen there's so many. There's already been so many animation errors or spotted in season one, and
Mm-hmm.
the quality of the quality of seasons two CGI actually got worse. So like
Oh god.
in the what do you call it? The scene where the where
Mm-hmm.
what do you call it? The elite. What is it? The elites are invading Visegrad Station, you know, because they tried to use a name from Halo
Right.
Reach, but they couldn't use New Alexandria for some reason. So they're invading Visegrad
Mm-hmm.
Station, and what happens is that the Marines are getting attacked by elites, and they all have shadows, right? The Marines have shadows, but the elites don't. You know, they don't have any
Right.
reflection. They just look fake. Um, it just it just looks worse than season one does.
Jesus.
Um,
Again, this is the problem when you rely so heavily on CGI and like don't bother to like actually catch these things because it's so easy to make things look unnatural and it could just be a mistake, it could just be a fuck up in one scene. But if it's like right in the player's or the watcher's face, they're not going to be able to ignore it. And like you said, it's going to give that illusion of, oh my god, this is so fake.
yeah.
And it's just telling. And actually, I did want to mention there was one mistake I wanted to bring up. I mentioned before how, like I said, I have spoken with someone who's like on the production as a what was it? Someone who was working with the props and everything like that. And I asked him about a very specific scene where I think they've changed it with the later releases of the episode, but in the first episode, uh, one of the Spartans, I forget her name and I don't care to know, um, shoots an elite with the plasma pistol. It's the infamous scene where she shoots him
Yeah.
with the plasma pistol and his head explodes, right? And um, what is it? Um, the scene is shot in a very weird way, and you start wondering, it's like, what's going on here, right? If you go back to that scene and slow it down, you'll actually see where they're not using the prop gun for the plasma pistol, they're using a foam replica that hasn't even been painted or anything. Like,
Yeah. I remember
this is the
that.
thing for like tracking purposes. And it's a blink and you'll miss it moment basically. And I asked about it. I was like, what happened? And according to the person I spoke to, they claimed the following: that during the production and the scene shooting, one of the actors had this prop, like the painted replica prop, and accidentally broke it during filming. And they didn't have enough time to, especially since they were kind of like rushing to get this out, they didn't have time to set up a new um, prop. What's it called? Paint up a new prop and kind of like set it out there and get it out like out the door. So they had to use one of the unpainted ones, and then the plan was to edit it in post because since it is like unpainted and white, they'd be able to edit it easily, catch it in editing and make those changes. But they didn't do that; they didn't catch it, and it got through production. So here we are.
That's quite interesting. I wonder how they broke it.
From what I can tell, it was something to do with like a jump scene or rolling or something to that effect. I can't recall the exact details. It was something like that didn't get used in the actual scene itself, but it got broken and it broke in the middle. Basically, it wasn't like something small where it's like, oh, part of the handle broke off or the top section isn't right or like one of the little like uh, rails on the top of the thing broke. Not a big issue. We can fix that. we can edit that out, or we can shoot the scene in a different way and kind of avoid it. No, it was the thing broke down the middle, so basically the whole assembly had snapped in half, and so instead of trying to correct it, trying to fix it, they just said whatever, just use the other version, no one's going to catch it. And like I said, here.
Yeah, they definitely catched it.
Exactly. It's like, I gotta add that to the pile of fuck shit that's been going on here.
Yeah, so much for discreet.
Just. Oh, absolutely. But it happens, and this is what I mean when you don't care about the production, you don't care about what you're doing. You're gonna wind up with a lot of questionable decisions and a lot of questionable moments, and you're gonna be left holding the bag and looking far more incompetent than you probably intended people to think you were. And like I said, this is why I've got no real what's it called? No real confidence in the second season, let alone a potential third season. I feel like this entire production is just going to go the way of the dodo after a while, and we're just going to look back at it as the questionable show that it is.
Yeah. It's like what's gonna happen is that it's gonna like I know some people are saying, oh, they listen to the feedback, it's better now. It's like, of course they'll see, it's like they're so used to getting shit that they'll think that like slightly better shit is somehow better, but it's not. So they're they don't understand that it's not the best. It's
Yeah, like saying we listen to feedback and actually implementing the feedback and making those changes are not the same thing. I can say, it's like if I decided to, I don't know, fucking steal from someone's house and then get caught with it and said, I've heard your feedback and I promise not to steal again. That doesn't absolve me of fucking stealing the fucking thing in the first place. Nor does it mean, oh, I've learned my lesson, I'm not going to do it again. I'm just probably going to go back, steal the same kind of stuff again, and then run with it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like I said, they don't understand. There's a difference between saying, I heard the feedback and I'm going to make those changes, and actually doing that.
Yeah, there's like it's like they think they can just say, oh, we did one small thing good, just we've listened. Just like, I don't know. I've noticed a lot of companies and stuff are doing that now, where they just pretend to like like they're on your side, but they really aren't. Like it's an era of fake sincerity, I guess you could say.
Exactly, and that's kind of the point. I mean, it's just it's not. I don't want to say it's lying through omission or like trying to be like deceitful. It's more like, how do I put it? It's more of a case of you're just trying to get away with it, and just enough of like vagary that you can just run with it. I guess that's the best way to kind of put it. And like I said, it's insulting because again, you're essentially in no what's it called? In no uncertain terms, you're basically just telling people, I view your IQ as less than that, and I'm going to keep lying to you because you're never going to call me out on anything you do.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, it's a combination of just insulting and just irritating, to say the least. Sticks, swings and roundabouts, really, at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's just how it goes.
So. So is there anything else you want to kind of add to this? Anything else you want to kind of mention? Or do you think you kind of like got in the... And I'm not saying this to speed things along or anything. I'm just saying, like, I think we've basically just covered everything that we had to say about this, or is there anything else you want to kind of...
I may have forgot two things, but I don't really mind. I just kind of... I just don't know. I think I've said everything I need to say. Like, at the end of the day, we at least for Halo stuff, we have my mods to look forward to for at least for positive stuff, because people keep telling me I'm carrying the Halo franchise right now. So my back hurts a
That's
bit
one way
from
of putting it.
having to, the dinosaurs are here to save Halo or something.
No, I get you. So that's a good way. It's like local modder gets intense back injury due to carrying the entirety of Halo in his back.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Still, I guess this is a good enough place to kind of give closing thoughts, basically. The show's probably going to be bad. If anyone wants to watch it and kind of continue it, sure, by all means, like I said, go for it. I'm not going to tell you you're wrong for doing this or you shouldn't do this. Far from me. If you want to do that, go ahead. But I'm probably just going to do what I did before. Really not pay attention, pretty much ignore it, check out the fight scenes, and then just call it a day at the end of the day.
Yeah. It's the best you can do.
Mm-hmm. Anyhow, so that said, I want to thank everyone for tuning in. Those of you who did and who enjoyed this, I guess, experimental first outing. If there's anything you want us to do, cover, talk about, change any sort of aspects or anything like that, we'd be happy to hear from you in the comments, and we'd like to see what you'd like to bring up and what you'd like to say. But yeah, this has been the, I guess, experimental first episode of the Revive Left for Random Talk. And this has been Rev and Jordan.
Yes.
Do you want to say anything to close out?
I don't got much to say. All I know is I'm gonna send you the link of the video when it's
Oh, good.
done.
All right, fair enough. Well, thank you all for tuning in, and we hope you have a great night. And take care, stay safe, and as always, remember, you can create something amazing, and you're always going to have people who are going to try and rip it off. Just remember, you created it. They can't.
Yes. Evil cannot create, only corrupt what's good.
Exactly. All right. Take care.
Right, I